Hey guys, welcome back to Cappuccino Life. So this one is my discussion about our trip to Venice, which was delightful, absolutely delightful. So they have all these sort of little cafes that's right in front of the hotel chain, if you would, and all of them have, at least the ones we tried, has just wonderful food. So this is our sort of our mid morning drink, if you would. We have cappuccino with a little Bailey's that we add to it, and just again, just delicious, just sort of living the life. Uh, when we landed, we took a ferry, if you would, or a boat, private boat actually. Just my wife and myself and the boat attendant that was on the boat, and it's a 20-minute ride or so from the Venice airport back to the hotel. We stayed at the Hotel Leandra. Leandra, that's Leondra, which very nice hotel. It's sort of one of these hotel chains essentially that's right there on the water. And so they drive up to your hotel, literally drive up on water in these boats, and take you right to your hotel. So in other words, you go from the boat onto the dock, walk across the street or walkway, if you would, and you're in your hotel. So your hotel is right there on the water. So here's the view from our room. Again, this is the Hotel Leandra. Again, it's in Venice, and this balcony sort of opens up onto sort of a veranda, and you have sort of the entire view of the Mediterranean right in front of you. So literally, there is uh, right below us. There's a restaurant. There is a walkway, and then you're right into the water. And again, your boat takes you, at least our ferry boat takes us right up to the dock, if you would, and from the dock into the street, from the street into our hotel room. And again, very nice room. And I'll add one more thing. If you go to Venice with the intent of sort of keeping your weight slim and trim, then not a good not a great idea, I don't think. So, for example, this mozzarella that we had with basil and tomatoes, it's interesting how different foods will taste in different parts of the world. But um, this mozzarella was just to die for, and you have to sort of gauge yourself in terms of how much you're eating, because you can easily sit there and and put three of these sort of plates of food away, and then the bread, obviously freshly baked, and always they come out with some wine that you must pair with your meal. And yeah, twist my arm, yes, give me another glass of wine with that. But again, food's nice and fresh and delicious. Uh, Venice is made up of about 118 different islands, and it's if you take sort of a day tour, and they have sort of dozens of these day tours, but you walk across this little bridge, if you would, and literally every bridge you walk across is onto another island. Again, 118 different islands, and they have some wonderful tours. So, you can sort of see from your travel agent, whoever you use, get a list of tours from them, and again, you can't go wrong. It's a nice little town to walk around, but do not be fooled by the fact that when on your GPS it tells you that something is half a mile away. It's half a mile away on multiple different islands, which means that you're doing a lot of sort of going up and making left and another right and another left. And so it takes you probably a good, I don't know, hour sometimes, and that's walking sort of at a decent pace. I walk every day, probably, I don't know, eight or so miles per day is what I walk. And I tell you, something tells me it's going to take, it's only a half mile or a mile. A mile probably took us this one day. A mile took us probably just over an hour to walk, because again, you have to go across this little bridge onto another island, and it's never straight roads. It's never straight direction. It's always bends and turns and all these other things. But Again, you'll see lots of shops as we did as we're walking along the street. But just gauging yourself, just know that if something takes you a half hour, I'm sorry, a half mile, it'll tell you, just know that it's going to take you probably, good half hour to an hour plus to get a half hour to an hour, I'm sorry, a mile to a half mile distance. It takes a long time to get there, is my point. And they do everything really extravagant. So I think this is a day that before we went for our show that we had to go to, I just asked for some water. The guy comes back, and they typically have two kinds of water. They have a flat water or water with essentially sort of seltzer water. And they always ask you that, which do you want? Because apparently it's not just, when we go to a restaurant here, they ask you ask for some water. It's typically without the fizz. They ask you, and then they bring you all these other additional things. And again, all part of the sort of the Hotel Leandra process, where they bring you chips and stuff in your water like lime or and they try to do it up really well, and give you napkins um, and olives. I think we had olives there in the center. Also, just with asking for some water, this is what they do. So very nice hotel, very nice room, very nice lobby. Sort of the entire thing. This is our bedroom, and we like to have king size beds in our room when we go to a place. And I think this is a queen plus. It's not quite a king size bed, but again, in this room, this bed was wonderful. It's not too soft, not too hard, and the queen plus is large enough, almost as big as a king, but not quite a king, but bigger than a queen definitely. Um, Again, a wonderful. So we travel quite a bit into Europe and the Caribbean and so forth, and so globaltracks.com is a group that we joined with a little while ago, and what they sort of uh, ensure you is that if you use their tracking system and you lose your item, and I do worry about losing my cell phone or my iPad, for example, in Europe, which were there quite a bit. They have a really cool tracking system that can locate um, your lost items and return them to you pretty quickly. So check them out a little bit if you can. Thanks.